Good evening, good evening, good evening. Hello, hello, hello. It's been a minute. Hi, everyone. It's so good to see you all this evening. This is Pastor Deborah Barris coming to you live from the Heart Matters show, where we get to the heart of the matter. I pray that you're doing well this evening. I pray that you are being blessed. I pray that things are going wonderful in your world right now. I just want to say I have missed you. I have been busy. I have been doing a little of this and a little of that and working on some other things and just dealing with life. And as you all know, life be lifing sometimes. Really, it does. But um, I was thinking about the fact that it's been a minute since I've been on, and so I was in prayer about this and sharing with a few people, and a lot of people have asked, "Where have you been? When you coming back? We miss you. We miss you. We miss you." So I want to let you know that I am back this evening. I won't be doing as many weekly shows as I was, but I will be coming on from time to time to share different things with you and to invite others to come on and be a guest on my show as well. I just love you all so much, and I thank you for your prayers. I thank you for your support. It's really amazing how God has you doing something and you don't realize how much of a blessing it is to other people. And it just always amazes me when I run into somebody and they say, "I love your show. I love your show." Because as many of you know, my mantra is it's not about me, it's about Jesus Christ. And so I don't do the show for me, I do the show to help other people. And so I'm thankful that I'm able to do it and that people are blessed by it. When I come on and talk about the different topics or have the different people to come on and share as well. Because as you know, life can be challenging sometimes, and we're all on this journey together. Um, and it's not a journey to walk by yourself, but it's good to have somebody to walk with you. It's good for somebody to be in your corner. It's good to have a support system, somebody to hold you up when you're feeling down. And sometimes we don't know how that's going to be, but I just pray that I've been that person for you down through the years to help out with that. So as I was talking about, thinking about what I would talk about tonight, I said, what better topic to pick than one that has been plaguing me for quite some time? Um, and that is procrastination. How many times have you supposed to be doing something and you find yourself doing something else, or you said, "I'm going to get around to it," or "I'm going to do that tomorrow," or "I'm going to do that this day"? And a lot of times we don't do it because of procrastination. So are you a procrastinator? Let's start right there. Are you a procrastinator? Do you find things to distract you instead of doing the task? Hello, that's me. Do you put off starting or finishing tasks? Do you make excuses why you can't do a task? Do you wait until the last minute to finish a task? Do you miss deadlines? A lot of us can fall in this category, and it's not to make anybody feel bad or anything. I can remember when I finally published my first book. I think it took me over 7 years to complete it. Not because I didn't have the information, but I kept procrastinating. I would pick it up and put it down and pick it up and put it down. So tonight I want to talk about some things that cause us to procrastinate and how we can overcome it. Because we all from time to time may feel like we're procrastinating, but there are different reasons why people procrastinate. So I know that I'm not the only one to procrastinate. We've all done it. We refer to ourselves as the king or queen of procrastination in a totally self defeating way. And I've seen it happen time and time again, and we want to be careful of that. Instead of doing the task that we needed, we find ourselves putting it off. Maybe you have a report that's due at work or something that you need to do, and instead of doing that, you find yourself doing something else. Um, there's something about when we say that we need to take care of something, but if it's something that we really don't want to do, we'll find some ways of getting around it, or just say, I'll get around to it eventually. I'll do it at another time. So I want to ask the question, what is procrastination? We talk about it a lot, but what is it? Procrastination is the action of delaying or postponing something to a later time. For example, you need to buy food, but you put off going to the store until tomorrow. Or you find yourself scrolling social media, filing paperwork, or rearranging your folders on your computer instead of finishing an important project that's due at work. How many times have we looked at the gas meter and said, I I need to stop and get gas, but that's okay. I'll get it later. And then when later comes, you'd be like, oh man, I should have stopped and got the gas, because you forget. Many people don't realize, um, how much procrastination affects us. And it's simply become a habit to put things off to do later. But how many don't? When you put it off to do later, that means that it never gets done. So we got to learn how to fix that. Napoleon Hill says procrastination is the bad habit of putting off until the day after tomorrow what should have been done the day before yesterday. So we might understand that procrastination is not just a time management problem, but according to Tim Peichel, an associate professor of psychology at Carleton University and a blogger at Psychology Today, says it's also an emotion management problem. Did you hear that? An emotion management problem. Our mood and emotions regulate how we feel when approaching an activity. Procrastination then is an emotions management issue. How you like that? You know how I feel about emotions. Positive emotions have us jumping into the activity. For example, if we expect a task or activity to feel good, we go for it. We like watching television or going to a lunch date or doing something that really makes you feel good. We don't have any problems doing that. But if it's a negative emotion, on the other hand, we will do what we can to avoid feeling bad. For example, we feel resistance towards doing our taxes, washing the dishes, going to the gym, or doing schoolwork or other tasks. Things that cause us to feel bored, uncomfortable, afraid, and frustrated causes us to procrastinate. I'll say that again. Things that cause us to feel bored, uncomfortable, afraid, frustrated, etc., causes us to procrastinate. Instead of forcing ourselves to do the task, we procrastinate by doing things that give us a good feeling. Our emotions cause us to procrastinate. Somebody say, wow. But what are the reasons? What is it? Some of the reasons that we procrastinate has to do with excuses. And these excuses are often founded in our subconscious as fears and anxieties or some other form of behavior that keeps us from taking action. And let's think about fears and anxieties for a minute. One of the reasons that people procrastinate is fear of failure. Hello, that's me. Fear of failure is one of the top reasons people procrastinate. We fear the unknown and procrastinate to avoid pain. Fear of failure includes a low self confidence level, anxiety over what will happen if you fail, and fear you can't meet your own expectations. We do everything we can to avoid an unpleasant situation. We procrastinate to avoid being told no or ridiculed. We stay in our comfort zone to avoid rejection. And let's stop right there for a minute. Let's talk about these fears and anxieties. I always talk about the fact that we have to learn how to get out of our own head, because when we get in our head, we find ourselves in a whole lot of mess. We think things that aren't true. We think things that people aren't saying, and we take this attitude of, wow, I can't do this, so I can't do that. Okay, there's another thing besides fear and anxieties that causes to procrastinate, but there's also overwhelm. Procrastinators often avoid tasks because they don't know where to begin. They don't break the big project down into little projects, but you might try to tackle it all at once. Or you have several small tasks that all need to be done, and you don't know where or which one to begin with. So instead of doing the task, you avoid doing any of them as long as you can. How many people? Yes, it's like you got to take them and separate them. You got all of these small tasks, or you've got some big tasks that you're not sure of how to do. And so it starts to overwhelm you. Then there's overconfidence. Some procrastinators are so confident in the task that needs doing that they put it off to the last minute. It's like, I got that. I can take care of that. I can do that. They believe they know how to do the task or are confident they can complete it without preparation. So they put it off. Then another reason why we procrastinate is perfectionism. Oh, along the same lines as overconfidence, perfectionism keeps you from doing or finishing a task. Perfectionism is often described as someone who pays excessive attention to detail, resulting in preoccupation with tasks that causes them to complete the task. They procrastinate for fear that they won't do the job right. Ah, you see that? And perfectionism, for all of us, perfectionism is not the way. None of us are called to be perfect. And so we have to be aware of trying to be a perfectionist, because that will keep us from accomplishing what we need to accomplish. And then we will find ourselves procrastinating about what needs to be done. So as you can see, as we talk about these particular areas, many of them you may be able to relate to. It's not to call somebody bad or anything like that, but it's about learning how to put things in the right perspective so that you can get things done, because people are waiting on you to finish the book, to start the business, to do whatever it is, to finish school, or whatever it is that you've been working on, that you've been procrastinating about. It's like you're not finishing it for you, or you're not doing it for you, but you're also doing it for the betterment of somebody else. And I think if we could look at that like that, I like that. That sounds good, Deborah. I like that. Yes, when we think about it, it's like we not just doing things for ourselves, but to free up time, because what we finish today, we don't have to take on and do tomorrow. So that's something else that we don't have to worry about. So when we think about things like that, that really, really helps us out. But one of the other areas that reasons that people procrastinate is indecisiveness. Ah. There are some people that procrastinate because they can't make decisions quickly. They can't decide which course of action to take or which decision to choose before they can move forward with action. Overthinking the situation leads to analysis paralysis. I'm going to say that again. Overthinking the situation leads to analysis paralysis. And you think about that this a minute. I remember I was working on an assignment, and I was trying to create this logo. I wanted this special logo. And I was trying to create one, and everything I tried, I didn't like. Or I would create it, and then I would be like, I don't know whether this is one. 2 weeks went by, And I was still trying to decide on this particular logo. 2 weeks went by. Finally, I said, um, I said, um, somebody, I said, finally, I said, I'm, finally, I said, I'm just going to make a decision. I'm just going to make a decision. I'm just going to make a decision. One of the things that I learned a while back was when it comes to making a decision and getting started and moving about doing something that you don't feel like you don't really want to do or whatever, they said to count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, just like that. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And when you do that, it's like as soon as you hit 1, then you go do it. Well, lo and behold, I made the decision. And guess what? I shared it with somebody and they were like, oh, that's beautiful. You mean to tell me all this time I've been looking at this thing and trying to decide when I could have been had it finished. I could have been done it long time ago. I didn't have to sit here waiting for it to be done. Can you believe that? So I did. I went on and I did it. And it turned out fine. It was okay. So we have to learn that we don't have to be indecisive when making decisions. We have to learn how to just how we have to become settled with the decision that we make. It's like, this is the decision I'm making and everything is okay. All right. So we don't want to be indecisive. Then we have to make sure we're clear about what it is that we're doing. A lot of times we may become um, overwhelmed, or we may become uh, um, in a situation where um, we're not clear, or we're procrastinating because we're not clear on our goals of what it is that we should be working on. And so say for instance, a vague goal might be to like start exercising. Is more likely to lead to procrastinating than a more concrete one like, I'm going to go to the gym every day after work and exercise it, walking on the treadmill at high speed for 30 minutes or something like that. You got to be specific in what it is so that you won't find yourself procrastinating. Another thing about procrastinating is disliking the task. Now, we don't mind doing things. There's certain things that we love to do. My family knows me as the one that not to hang around to clean up the kitchen. That's not me. That's not my forte. I'll do the prep work and I'll be in there in the beginning, but not at the end. So I may procrastinate with that. Or there's something else. If there's some people who may not like to fold laundry or um, uh, do certain tasks in the home. I don't know anybody that likes cleaning bathrooms, but I'm just saying there's certain things that we may not want to do, and it's because they're not exciting to us or they don't make us feel good, so we wind up disliking them. David Lloyd George says there's nothing so fatal to character as half-finished tasks. Wow. So right here, I want to put a plug in and say, finish what you start. Whatever it is, finish what you start. I cannot tell you how it made me feel when I finished the first book. Yes, I cannot tell you how good it made me feel when I finished the first book. Finish what you start. So what happens with procrastination is we may start something, but if we're not clear on what we're supposed to be doing, or if it's something that seems tedious or arduous or something like that, then we'll find ourselves not wanting to do that particular thing. But it's like sometimes you just got to pick it up and go with it anyway. Okay. So, what are some of your fears when it comes to procrastination? Are you afraid you'll fail because you always failed in the past? Is procrastination something you saw growing up in your family? Have you allowed procrastinating to become a habit because you are lazy or just not interested in the task? Maybe it's due to your self esteem level or your confidence in your abilities or your negative your negative thoughts that keep you from taking action. Thinking it has to be perfect before you can finish it can keep you stuck in the constantly putting off of a task until you can do it perfectly. You see that? So there are a lot of reasons that come into play as to why a particular person procrastinates. And I like the one about, checking your self-esteem level, checking your confidence in your abilities, because sometimes if we're not sure of how to do something, it's not that we want to procrastinate. Remember, procrastinating is delaying doing something. It's delaying doing a particular thing. And it could be because we're not sure of how to do it. Once we begin a task, no matter how dreaded, our perceptions of the task change. We don't appraise the task as quite so stressful or difficult once we get started. Remember, the hardest part is always getting started, right? The hardest part is always getting started. I think about that with so many things, and it's like once you get started, you be like, man, this is not as bad as I thought it was. I thought it was going to be a whole lot more than this, but it's not that difficult at all. I could have been started on this. I could have been did that particular thing. And so it's like learning that um getting it in your head, in your mindset, that this is something that I have to do. Okay, this is something that I need to do. This is something that I must do. So if that's the case, then I have to go ahead and get started, because starting is everything. You think about your own life, you think about things that you were hesitant about doing. And once you got started, you got excited. You decided to go back to school. And then at first you were really worried about it. And, oh, I'm not going to be able to do this. And you thought of all of the things that would say why you couldn't do a particular thing. But once you went, all of a sudden it's like, wow, I'm so glad that I started, or whatever it is that you're working on. Many of us, God has gifted us the ability to do many things. He has given us gifts. He's given us gifts and talents to do many things, but we find ourselves sitting on them. We find ourselves not doing them. Why? Because we think they're too difficult. So we procrastinate about doing them. Oh, maybe I'm not doing enough. I remember the first book I wrote, when the Lord told me to write a book, and my thing was saying, I don't need to write a book. Everybody that wrote a book, there's a lot of books out there. But the Lord said, but your book is not out there. And I had to realize that my book was going to touch people. Oh, my goodness. That somebody else wasn't going to reach. So you got to understand that when God has something and he gives you that desire, don't let fear or anxiety or those particular things get in the way. Don't let those things keep you from doing it. So when we talk about it, when we talk about all of the different things that can occur with why we procrastinate, why we don't do a particular thing. There are many, and we don't all fit in the same category. But if you're a person that can identify with at least one of them, then you have to start asking yourself the question, why? Why am I procrastinating about this particular thing? What's so difficult about this particular thing? A lot of times it's not that the task is too difficult. It's because I have fears or anxieties or I don't trust myself, or I'm afraid of what somebody might say, or I don't have the confidence that I need. And so those are the things that we have to work on, because when you start um, thinking about, I always put it like this: if God gives you an idea for something, He also gives you the ability to carry it out. Mm. Now, that may mean that you might not be the only person involved, but if He gives you an idea for something, He gives you the ability to carry it out. And the ability is already in you, Jesus. The ability is already there. But what you've got to learn to do is have the trust and the confidence in yourself. Yes, you've got to have the trust and the confidence in yourself, to believe in yourself that you can do it. Because so many times we find ourselves in situations where we feel like, I can't, or no, I better hold on. No, 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 no. God has purpose in you. He's designed you to be a creator. He's designed you to be a gifted and talented person. Everybody knows how to do something. And so it's a matter of not procrastinating on that thing so that you can do that particular thing. Does that sound make sense to you? It makes sense to me. I told you I wanted to talk about this tonight because I have situations where I could become a procrastinator, especially when I have several things that I need to get done. Not all at the same time, but I need to carry out different assignments. Then, if I'm not careful, I'll start procrastinating and don't want to get started. Many of my assignments have to do with writing. And a lot of times I was like, oh, no, I don't want to write today. But if I get started, I find that things flow. And also, you don't want to leave out the fact, if you feel like you're um if you feel like you're a procrastinator, then you need to go into prayer and you need to talk to God and ask God, Lord, help me in this situation. I keep feeling like I don't want to do it. Lord, take that fear away from me, or take that anxiety away from me, so that I can accomplish what I need to accomplish. And God will do just what you ask. He will do it. And so a lot of times we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to do things, when all we got to do is let go and let God, and let Him show us how to do a particular thing. So the first thing that I want to say is, I want to talk about now is some tips to overcoming procrastination. The first thing that I want to say is, um, the first thing that I want to say is um, prayer. Prayer is the first one that I want to talk about. Yes, we have to be careful of prayer, because prayer changes things, and God wants us to pray to Him. So when you're feeling like you can't overcome procrastination, you want to pray about it. You want to seek the Lord with it. You want to pray about that particular thing. The second thing that you want to do is you want to think about the things that you've been procrastinating about. Okay. Case in point. Let's say, for instance, you keep saying, I'm going to clean out that closet. Oops. Yeah. Yes. I'm going to clean out that closet. Or I'm going to get some things together to give away. So I'm going to clean out that closet. And you keep talking about it and talking about it. And of course, that's an arduous task, talking about cleaning out the closet. And I think the hardest part is not the cleaning out. The hardest part is deciding what you're going to let go of more than anything else, right? So, so um, so with that being said, then you have to understand that, okay, wait a minute. Let's break this down into smaller steps. Don't try to do it all in one day. Do a section at a time. You break it down. You do a section, just a section, just a section. And you'll find that you'll accomplish it. So most of our tasks, like if they're big tasks like that, we need to break them down into smaller tasks. and they don't seem as daunting, and they become a little easier to tackle. The next thing you want to do is set up your goals and your deadlines. Always keep them. I always keep them on my calendar so I can see how much time I need to get this done or to get that done or get something else done. And that works very, very, very good in establishing those goals and those time sets for you to be able to get things done. Another thing is learning how to use time management techniques. Okay. One technique is the Pomodoro technique. And that technique means working for a set period, then taking a short break, or time blocking, allocating specific time slots for different tasks. That can help you improve focus and productivity. So, what I'm saying is about the time management technique. Um, of working for a set period, then you set yourself a time period. Okay, for 2 hours, I'm going to work on this. And then at the end of the 2 hours, I'm going to take a break. Instead of saying, I'm going to commit the whole day to this particular thing. Well, you're going to get distractions. How many times, if you're like me, I go in one room and then I see something that I want to take to another room, and then I go in the other room and I find myself doing stuff in that room. And before I forgot all about the room that I was working in. So we have to be careful of that, but set yourself certain tasks, set yourself certain time frames and say, okay, I'm going to do this from 10 to 12. I'm going to work on this. And then I'm going to take a break. Okay. And that's going to make you feel better. The next thing, that's another tip for overcoming and avoiding procrastination, is identify and address distractions. What? Identify and address distractions. When we identify common distractions, whether it's social media, email, or something else, when we learn what those distractions are, it helps us to minimize them during our periods when we need to be working. How many times have you sat at the computer to do work? Me. And all of a sudden, you find yourself shopping. Yes, yes. Or you find yourself surfing on on Instagram or Facebook or something like that, social media, doing something other than. So you have to understand what your distractions are. And so you identify those distractions so you can overcome them so that they won't be a problem to you. Okay? You want to learn how to identify those distractions. Another thing that you want to do is you want to practice self-discipline. Yeah. You want to cultivate that self discipline by building good habits and routines. Now, this might involve creating a consistent daily schedule or prioritizing tasks effectively and learning to say no to distractions or temptations. Practicing self discipline. It goes back to what I was saying about the time frame. In other words, I'm not going to procrastinate today. I'm going to dedicate 2 hours to this. Or it could be on the other end of the schedule, other end of the spectrum, and saying, okay, I'm not doing nothing after 6 o'clock. Poof, right? So you put yourself first. Hello. You put yourself first by saying, um, I'm going to discipline myself because if I take care of this now, I have more time for me later. Ooh, oh my goodness. If I take care of this now, I have more time for me later. Because so many times what we do, we find ourselves in situations where we're not really focused on the later part. All we're thinking about is the right now. But it's like, hey, I'm going to do this particular thing because if I do this particular thing now, I'll feel better much later. So we want to work on that that self-discipline, learning how to practice self-discipline. And self-discipline is not something that's easily done. It's not something that we can just say, oh, I could do this. This is real easy. No, self-discipline takes time. It takes time for you to get in a certain routine of things, so you want to work on that. Another tip for overcoming procrastination is find the thing that motivates you to get it done. What do you mean by that, Pastor? What do you mean find a thing? Certain things motivate us, okay? I always like being able to go check. I like checking things off my list. That's what motivates me. So sometimes it means I've got to work on something a little longer so that I can get the check block. Okay. That just makes me feel, when I can check it off my list, it really, really makes me feel good. And a lot of times we don't always realize that, or we don't always see that. But when we learn to do that, it's like, yeah, I can check this off my list. I don't have to hold on like this. So that's something that you want to do. You want to We want to understand why the task is important and focus on the benefits of completing it. Visualize the positive outcomes and rewards that come from overcoming procrastination and accomplishing your goals. So it's like, yeah, the benefits of completing it. You might tell yourself, when I get finished this, I'm going to make me a smoothie, or I'm going to eat a cookie, or I'm going to do a hot bath. It just different things. But what are the benefits of completing it? For me, it's always doing that check in my head. Check, done. I like feeling like that. I like that feeling like that. I don't like the overwhelmed feeling, or the things of having a whole lot of things. So I've learned how to break them down. It's like, if I've got several speaking or preaching assignments lined up, I break them down and prepare them ahead of time, so that I don't come up on the wire. I got to hurry up and get this done. I plan them out along with my other activities and assignments that I had to do. And that really, really makes a difference. Is that helping you? Okay. All right. Another tip is, don't worry about being a perfectionist. We talked about that. Perfectionism can be a major cause of procrastination. Okay. Embrace the idea of good enough and recognize that perfection is often unattainable or unnecessary. Oh, and my coaching program, my coach was sharing something with me. I was telling her that I'm not sure I'm ready. I'm not ready to go online with it. I'm not ready to do this particular thing. And she said, stop waiting for perfect. And that was the best advice that she could have given me, because I'm always wait. I don't care. And her attitude was, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just do it, because you can always go back and make changes. But if you sitting around waiting for perfect, it will never get done. You'll never get to the point where you'll be able to finish that particular thing. And the more I thought about that, it's like, yes, embrace the idea of good enough. I am good enough. What I did was good enough. It doesn't have to be perfect. Nobody is keeping score on it. Nobody but me, because nobody is looking at it and saying, that's not perfect. You hear what I'm saying? Y'all got that? You hear what I'm saying? So I had to learn that I don't have to be perfect. God isn't expecting us to be perfect. We are imperfect people that serve a perfect God. Oh, one of the books in my library is called The Gift of Imperfection. The Gift of Imperfection. See, we procrastinate because we want it to be perfect, but nobody is expecting you to be perfect. Be the person that God created you to be. That's all you have to do. Be the person that God created you to be. Because if you be the person that He created you to be, you don't never have to worry about anything being perfect. That is not a part of the scenario. That is not a part of the equation. It's like, get that out of your head. So if you want to get rid of procrastination, stop trying to be perfect. Finally, a way to overcome procrastination is to learn how to reward yourself. Woo! Mm. Learn how to reward yourself. You know, um, we we shy away from rewarding ourselves. We're, oh, that's okay. I don't know. Learn how to reward yourself. If you finish a big assignment, treat yourself to something nice. And I'm not saying that you got to go get a mani-pedi or anything like that, but do something for you. Reward yourself. Set up a system of rewards for yourself to incentivize progress and task completion. Learn how to celebrate small victories along the way to keep yourself motivated and reinforce positive behaviors. Yeah, reward yourself. Give yourself a pat on the back. Do something special for something when you've worked on something, you've completed something, you took care of something. Then it's like, wow, reward yourself. Because when we reward ourselves, it helps us in that gratification of saying, I did it, makes us feel good. So the next time we have to do something, we're more prone to do it and not procrastinate about it because of the reward we gave ourselves. Does that make sense to you? Because of the reward we gave ourselves um, in the beginning. So it's like um, a reward can be different types of things, but you have to decide for you, what do you want to reward yourself with? What is it that you want to give yourself? Um, and learn how to do this regularly. Give yourself some rewards. You know, if you've accomplished something, and the thing about it is, I don't know why my nose is itching, but the thing about it is, rewards don't have to be big things. They don't have to be $1,000 in the bank. Okay, that's a nice reward, but reward yourself with something. Yourself with those things that make you feel good, that you've accomplished something, that you've completed something. Um, a lot of times, um, you may decide to buy yourself some flowers. That's a reward. Somebody doesn't have to give them to you all the time. You felt like buying yourself some flowers. You know, it doesn't always have to be a monetary type gift, but it's something to reward yourself for saying, I'm God's child and I'm not going to dwell on procrastination. I'm going to learn how to treat myself to some niceties because of the task I've completed. Hmm. All right. And that'll make you want to do more. Like I said, um, sometimes uh, we think that, oh, that's okay. I don't deserve that. I don't know. Yes, you do. Yes, you're women of royalty. Okay, men of valor. Um, you're special in God's sight, so you do deserve a reward, and you need to reward yourselves. So as we come to a close in talking about overcoming procrastination, it's not a topic, like I said in the beginning, that we like to talk about because we don't want to feel like we're procrastinators. We just we get a little lazy sometime and don't want to do a particular thing. But the more things you stay on top of, the more time you have to do the fun things that you love to do. I can remember I tell this story about when I was in seminary, and oh gosh, it was crazy. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of assignments. It was a lot of reading books and writing. And I can remember one time in particular that I asked my husband, could we go out somewhere I wanted to go? And he was like, no, you've got work to do. And I was like, but I don't want to do the work. He said, get the work done and then we could go wherever it was. Man, I worked and I got that stuff done because I wanted to get that reward of where he was taking me. And so, a lot of times we think about that and we don't think about the end of a thing, finish it. So I ask you, what is it that you've been sitting on that you haven't finished that God told you to do? Is it the book you haven't written? Is it the business you haven't started? Or you started it and you stopped it? The book you started writing and you put it down and didn't pick it back up? What are some of those things that you didn't finish? You know? Or it could be a number of things that we've procrastinated about. God may have given you an idea about something. I don't know why I'm saying this, but somebody is supposed to be writing, hello, a cookbook. The Lord just spoke that into my spirit. And if that's you, I want to hear from you. Somebody's supposed to be writing a cookbook. That's what the Lord just spoke to me. Okay. So if there's something that the Lord has laid on your heart to do and you're not doing it, stop being, don't procrastinate no more. Start doing it. The Bible says, work while it is day, for when night come, no man can work. And so many times we sit on things and you don't want to be the person that looks back on your life and say, you know what? I should have did this. I was supposed to do that or whatever. Start doing some of those things. Don't be a procrastinator. There's too many of them out there. We need to um, decrease the volume of procrastinators. Well, this has been wonderful on this evening as we prepare to come to a close on tonight. I thank God for each of you. I thank God for you being on here with me this evening, and I pray that this has been a blessing to you. I thank God for each of you. I pray God's blessings and favor and increase on each one of you in your lives. I always say that we have come to the close of another day, the end of a perfect day. Why do I call it perfect? Because everything that God created was perfect. And so this day was perfect. You may have met some challenges in the day. Everything may not have gone your way, but the day was perfect. So I pray that as you close your eyes tonight, you think about some of those things that God has blessed you to have. Oh, and be so grateful because we are truly blessed. And so I thank you that on tonight that you'll have a good rest night's sleep and be grateful for this perfect day that we have had. And as I said before, I'll be coming back again. It may not be weekly, but I'll be coming back. I'm working on some things and trying to set up a schedule for some things. But I love you. I thank God for allowing me to share this time with you this evening. And as I always say, I love you, but God loves you best. And always remember that your heart matters. Peace.